that I'm not trying to suggest to you that my day was any different than yours, but it was. Okay? It's one of those things. I got to tell you something. It's one of those things. Now let me ask you something today. I want to say, first of all, hello and thank you. We got Richard Long, Dick Long. Does anybody go by Dick anymore? Is it me? I'm not trying to be contumacious ever. I'm just wondering. Rebecca's here from Arizona. Never been to Arizona, but I want to go there. Bill Belcher, everybody. First time seeing you live in a long time. Well, we've been doing mornings. And by the way, you know there's no better way to say thank you. There's no better way to say thank you. No better way that you can think of. That's right. No better way than to say thank you than with this incredible new fangled thing called, I think they called it the super chat. Don't want to push it. Don't want to be too what do you call it? Too solicitous, but they do have it. It's there. It's a way for you to say, all right, thanks. Thanks for your time. Thanks for making me say no. Don't. I'm not in any way trying to, I'm not trying to, get in the way. I'm just telling you. This morning I had to go to get the car serviced. It's a Yugo. It's a stretch. So it's a classic. And I don't know about you. Call me crazy. Call me wacky. But there's something that's kind of not fun about going to get... How do we say this? Going to get the car fixed. Going to go there. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? East Union, Ohio's checking in, by the way. East Union. I love the names of places. Not just Ohio. East Union. There you go. And there's something weird about this. I like the smell of tires. I'm demented. I like the smell of tires. I like that showroom. You go in the showroom and the service is the part that you never really want to deal with. When you go and you get it's a Yugo, it's a classic, but if you get a regular car, you got to go there and then they meet you and everything. But then you realize, it's that service. And how we are so dependent upon this. I hope I have never been in an electric car. Does anyone have an electric car? It's 12:38 in the morning in Ireland. God bless you, Ireland. God bless you. My Vespa failed today. Indicators detect. By the way, Vespa means a hornet. Did you know that? There's something about that. Let me ask you a question. Most important question. What was your everybody remember, maybe it's me, your first car? Your very first car. Let's stop all this stuff. What was your first car? What was your first car? Your very first car. The one that you said, I'll take anything. I don't even know if kids today want a car. I have no idea if they want a car. I don't think they understand what's going on. I don't think they care for it. I would drive anything. Oh, Bradley just bought a Ford. Good for you. A 1963 Ford Falcon. Look at that. See, everybody remembers that. 71 Pinto. Pinto in some countries is not a good term. A 1990 Eclipse GSX. What the hell is that? What is it? See, we had names like Pinto, Satellite. This is an Eclipse. What? A what? 58 Ford, 58 Galaxy. Wow. Ford Fairlane, Triumph Herald. Nice, very nice. 68 Galaxy 500. 73 Ford Gran Torino. I had a 1970 Chevy Impala, blue. Indestructible. I had the car for I don't know how many years at the time. I loved it. Everybody had different cars, whatever it was. And it was acting up, as you can imagine. I don't know why you could imagine that, but it is. And I went to the service man, the service guy, the guy, Barney. I said my name, Barney. He was at a gas station, but he was the guy we went to, Barney. And sometimes, like my father would go hang out with Barney. I don't know why. He liked Barney. It was fun. It wasn't really like the. It wasn't like the barber shop. But anyway, so I went to go see Barney. So Barney was about to say, well, I don't know, it's acting kind of weird, Barney. What do you mean? Well, it's acting kind of weird. It's acting weird? Yeah, kind of weird. A little strange, Barney. A little strange. Well, what's happening? I don't know. I'm not, why don't you check it out? So Barney asked me the question, when did I last change the oil? Now, I must have been 16. So when did I change the oil? When did you last change the oil? The oil? You mean gas it up? No, the oil. What do you mean? What's this oil thing you're talking about? Nobody ever told me about the oil. Never. He says, you never change your oil? I said, I don't want to be deaf, or dense, rather. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. He went, there was no oil, there was nothing. It wasn't steaming, but the car was running fine. It was fine. It was indestructible, filled with chrome. Great. The trunk was huge. The baffle, you could put the sound and the music and the speakers. This friend of mine worked at a stereo place, and he put the speakers in, and it was great. Loved it. Indestructible. Indestructible. And now I don't even think kids today want cars. I don't even think they want them. I don't even think they want to drive today. I don't think they really care for this. And I enjoyed it immensely. I enjoyed the whole driving thing. It meant a lot to me. It was a chance to get away. But now, Uber, I never took a cab, I think, in my life till I came to New York. I never took a cab. A cab? In Florida? No. A cab. Rode a bus? Never. A bus? No. So car was it. That was it. Remember when malls first came about? The mall. Remember when the mall, that was the magnet for everything. The mall rats. Just walking around. We had a little strip mall. That didn't count. But the mall. You drive in, you get out of your car, and you walk around the mall. Okay? I just want to share that with you. We also found out, Mrs. L and I took a little walk around, a walkabout the hood, as it were, and lo and behold, what did we find? There's a place that is opening in the hood, and it's one of these kind of a high-end, I shouldn't say high-end, but it's a movie theater and bar and restaurant kind of thing. And what was there before was wonderful. It had the best movies, the best seats. They have heated seats and all this stuff, and it's really high end and all this stuff, and that's terrific. So as I'm going there, I happen to run into the manager, and because we've been waiting for this because COVID killed that whole thing, and it was the most wonderful thing in the world. And I miss going to theaters. And the best part about it is that New York has, this is true, the best independent independent kind of art house stuff, the best. Movies that you would never want to see at home, movies that you would never want to watch, but lo and behold, there it is. And before, when this place was in the original incarnation, they had these very strange people who worked there. And whenever we would start off, one time we were in this movie theater. Remember the time we were there all by ourselves? This big theater. There's nobody there. It's just two of us. Nobody. I mean, nobody. So they always have these people that came in, these workers. And he stands up at the front. And he says, "Thank you very much." He says, "Well, we're here. Why are you going in the front? You could stand in front of us. Why are you going in the front of the theater? We're here. We're halfway." So anyway. And they gave this speech every time. They said, "Now, in the event you drop your phone, make sure you call us. Call us." Why do I want to call you? Just call us. Don't go looking for it yourself. Don't put your hand down there. I thought, this is the weirdest. What kind of message is this? If you drop it, you call us and we'll get your phone. But don't go fishing around. And I asked later on, why do you do that? It's because people get their hands mangled because there's electric device. I guess. They had the worst movies ever. The worst movie I ever saw in my life. The worst movie. And we can watch anything. We can watch any movie there is and enjoy it absolutely, positively. But the worst movie, was an Indian movie with subtitles. And I don't know what it was about. And when the movie ended, somebody said, "That's it?" It was the crowd. "That's it?" And we walked out. We didn't understand. We said, what was the point of that? Did you have drive-in movies when you were kids? I'm being very nostalgic tonight. I'm in that kind of mood. Did you have these wonderful drive-ins? Oh. Did you have drive-ins, honey, when you were a kid?
Yeah.
What was the name of your drive-in? The name of your drive-in. Your drive-in, the drive-in theater.
Oh.
We had 20th Century. We had Funland. Remember going with your parents? I loved it. Going with your parents. It was weird. It's like, what is this? We're in the car. We're sitting in the car. And I would always break anything down. We're sitting in the car. Yes, it's a drive-in. No. We're in a car watching a movie and we can barely see it. We're in this, and they had these little hills. Like there's one particular, this part that was kind of elevated so you could kind of look down. And then you had to pull up next to this stanchion with this big metal box and you roll up your window halfway and the lip would catch it with this terrible speaker. It's horrible. I don't know what it was. See, the worst movies ever. It was fantastic. Loved it. We used to have these bats dive bomb. They would dive bomb. This is in Florida. Hot, night, sticky. Like, what are we doing? And I, of course, would ask, this would be me the whole time, why are we here? What are we doing? What's going on? Whose idea was this? What demented fool? This isn't fun. Anyway, so I was elected to go to get the drinks or whatever the hell it was. And now imagine the food at this place. Ugh. Imagine the high-level safety checks of the employees who work there. Background checks, you know what I mean? Culinary expertise, cooking credentials. I'm sure they to work at this place. Well, what I didn't realize when I left, Starview Drive-In Theater, Lincoln, Nebraska. See, I love that. You got to have the name, Starview. Makes sense, right? You can view the stars because you're outside. How about Funland? What does that mean? Anyway. So as I went to the place, and we're always worried about, at some particular point in your life, always worried about abduction. It was kind of breaking the news, like abduction. This is a place to get abducted. You say goodbye to your family, and you walk away in the dark, and you go up the hill, and you go towards this light, this concrete block thing, this shelter where they make the food, and you walk up this thing. And you got this, and there's a guy with a droopy eyelid and the tattoo with the words misspelled, and he's got a maroon rag, and he's serving you this slop, and you've got to walk back. But here's the best part. Where's your car? Where's your car? Where is it? Everybody's got their lights off. There's no numbers. There's nothing. There's no lighted stanchions. You're walking up to each car. You're walking around with this nacho, whatever the hell they had. They have nachos then. And I never realized it. There's no way to find your car. So after approximating using some kind of a weird reference point, stars and where I was, I found the car and I said, never again. I'm never going to go again. I'm surprised I even got back here. Oh, shut up. Oh, no, this is terrible. This is horrible. I was complaining the whole time. It was the worst thing. It was a movie. People would always try to sneak in the trunk. You heard these stories. And one time we asked somebody who was taking the tickets, I said, "Do you ever have people who try to sneak in the trunk?" He said, "Yeah." "What do you do?" He says, "Nothing." And I realized, he goes, "Why?" He says, "What do I care? I'm making nothing. What do I care? What am I going to do? Get into a fight with somebody? I'm going to open up a trunk? What am I, like the border patrol? Go look at it. Get out of here. Beat it." People want to get in. They don't want to hear. I don't care. I never thought about that. We need to go back. Now I would go to a drive-in. I would go to a drive-in. I would do all this stuff again because you know what it is? It was better days. It was better days. John Smith says, we support evening night shows. Oh yeah, John? How much do you support them? How much do you support this? Talk is cheap, Johnny. Where's the jack? Where's the dough? Remember telethons? Call me, please. We had these. This was so terrible. I used to love to watch the Jerry Lewis telethon. It was my every year I watched the whole thing. My father loved it. I loved it. And then years later, I found a friend of mine. His friend, this guy Tim, and he came over to my place and he brought his chair, like a big Barcalounger chair. I don't know how we got it in, but anyway, we watched the whole thing. So one night when I was doing the radio station, we got the chance to go to Bayfront Center. And we went to the Bayfront Center and this was in St. Pete. And they had a phone at each desk and people would call. And we had the guy from the local channel station, he was there and he was begging, please, it's for Jerry's kids, please. A nickel, a dime, anything, please. And he just started off. And I'm saying, you better pace yourself there, Dave. You better pace yourself. You've got 24 hours of this, or whatever it was, 6-7 hours. Better pace yourself, please, for the kids. You don't understand. And I'm thinking, this guy's not going to make it. Sure enough, about a half an hour into this, he's losing steam. He's repeating himself. He's basically getting angry with the audience because the phone's not ringing. So I was next to this guy, and they had stuff on the, I don't know what, they didn't clean anything up. They had like pens and scotch tape. Scotch tape is what we called it. This, that, all this stuff. So the guy next to me shows up. So what I did was, they had the phone, with the two little prongs that pop up. I decided to tape the prongs down. So that when the phone rang, it would keep ringing. So when the phones came, nothing happened, but I saw what the number was. So I'm picking up the phone. This is before cell phones, and I'm picking up the phone, I hang up. So here's this guy, Dave. He said, please, Jerry's kids. And we were right in the front. This is when they cut to the local cutaways. Now let's go to our locals. Thank you very much. We're here and the tote board is, $8, whatever it was. So I'm there in the front next to this guy. I called his phone. Nobody's really watching me. I'm picking up the phone. Why am I calling? Normally, the people in telethon, they get the call. I'm calling out. Am I ordering something? So I called up and I called this phone. And I left it kind of off the hook. So he's answering the phone. Thank you for calling Jared Muscle District. Ring. Thank you for calling Muscle Ring. Because I scotch taped it. And I'm like this. Yep. $100? Excellent. Thank you. And guys, listen to me. $100. He's trying to make the phone work. Hello. Ring. He's doing like this. Now, what you got to understand was we were in the front. I insisted on it. So anybody who's watching this sees this man, whoever he is, this local celebrity, he's going crazy, doing his stuff, screaming. Well, not screaming, but he's getting kind of desperate. You know, a little plaintive, a little down. Nothing's really working. This guy is like this behind him. He's like trying to call for the technical help, and the phone's ringing. It won't stop. So he hangs up. It's still ringing. He picks the phone up. It's ringing. Nobody, because I've got my phone, and I pretend like I'm talking to somebody, and my phone's ringing. Anyway, it was one of the best night, and I had and I thought, I can't ever see this. There was no taping then. We didn't have any. There was no way to see this. I would have given anything. Anything. Anywho, I've given up on trying to explain artificial intelligence to people. Wasting my time. Nobody understands it. Nobody cares. It's like this is the worst thing that is ever going to happen to anyone. You understand that? This is the worst. This is the scariest stuff that has ever happened. It blows I can't even fathom, or as my friend's wife used to say, I can't phantom. I can't imagine, and nobody seems to even get a grip of what this is. I heard a talk radio host the other day say on his show, I got, a artificial, I just, it's an app or something. I don't have that app. I said, app? App? He thinks it's an app. I'm thinking, oh my God. Yeah, well, the artificial, that's been around for a while. No, it hasn't. Have you heard what's going on recently? In the past, month? Couple of months? Have you heard this? Have you heard this? No, Jenny, the toothpaste isn't out of the tube. No. It's the tidal wave has been here, but the toothpaste has a mind of its own. The toothpaste is not anything you've ever seen before. Max Tegmark has the 4 rules, which are what you must really know. And this is what you must really think about. Be very careful about this. Number 1, when it starts to write its own code, we've got problems. When it writes its own code, we have problems. And this is the how do I say this? This is the part of this whole thing that I can't This is the part. I don't want to say it keeps me up at night. This is as close to keeping me up. Writing its own code, having access to the internet, writing its own apps, its own APIs, and learning human psychology. That's it. It's done. See ya. Wow. It writes its own code? Yes. On its own? Yes. Can you stop it? No. Where is it? We don't know where it is. We don't know where. Brian writes, now they use phrases, apostrophe S, to fill conversations because people are lazy. All to make life easy. Well, yeah, a little bit more than that, though. One of the things it does is it anticipates where words are going after you hear it. And there was one thing I heard. There was a wonderful, I think it was Tristan Harris has a wonderful YouTube. There's some great stuff. See, I used to find the whole extraterrestrial UFO thing fascinating. That's Stephen Greer, Bob Lazar. Where are we going with that? I don't know. Then I thought the particle physics stuff was great. That was interesting. I liked the Eric Weinstein stuff. I liked Brian Greene, Michio Kaku. Eric Weinstein's my favorite of them all. String theory, quantum gravity. Okay. Edward Witten, Ed Witten. Interesting. Very interesting. Then this came. And this is back to I'm in awe of this. There was a program that someone had crafted using this. I don't know if you call it either Chat GPT 3 or 5, but whatever this artificial intelligence engine was. And they came back to look at it. It taught itself Persian. Nobody spoke Persian. Where did this come from? Who did this? Who did this? This is the most. Stop right now. Who does this? When chatbots get to the point where people start having them, and I've been talking about this for so long, I can remember being on TV and talking about this, and they looked at me like, what are you talking about? When dolls and animatronics become so real and so human and so human-like, I don't, there's no turning this off. Why do people not understand this is not necessarily good or evil? What is the default mechanism? If you went to one of these machines and said, make me something that's destructive, make me something that hurts people, make me something, what are the brakes? As it was explained by one theoretician, he said it would be similar to saying, bad dog, bad, don't do that. And it's going to work around that. It's not going to listen to you. It doesn't, it's not a direction. It's not a command. What is it? What do you do? When you get into this recursive self improvement and it writes its own code, do you hear what I'm saying? Where now Elon Musk and others are saying we might want to hit the brakes on this. Nobody's hitting the brakes. It's already done. It's already done. Have you heard this one? A machine calls up your home. You've heard this, I'm sure. Gets your kid on the phone. And the thing is, thank God, nobody really answers the phone anymore, but assuming your child does. Picks up the phone, answers it. Oh, sorry, wrong number. Has 3 seconds. 3 seconds of your child's voice. Or anybody's voice. 3 seconds. It's all it needs. Calls back later on. Hey, Mom, Dad, yeah, listen. I'm looking for a job or whatever it is, and I don't have my social security number. Can you get that for me, please? Yeah, sure, thanks. I don't have it with me. I didn't think I'd be. And assume that this particular program is so good it already has learned, not only, it does it on its own, but it learns personality, psychology. It learns irony. It learns whatever. And overnight, the whole notion of authentication is done. It's done. It's done. They'll be able. It will on its own, and you can't say, okay, stop. Okay, that's enough. You didn't push this. It goes on forever. Like the Joe Ely, not Joe Ely. Who did that? That was anyway. The road goes on forever. Self-authentication process, gone, done, finished. And that's nothing. Somebody said one time, think about this. Now you got to think about this. It doesn't sound like much, but it is. Imagine if somebody decided, let's say some foreign country that did not care for us, decided to give away free millions and millions of Trump and Biden voice, not deep fake, but just whatever it is. And you all of a sudden flooded. There's a thing going on right now. It's very interesting about Trump, Obama, and Biden talking to each other and telling these corny jokes. And it's so perfect. But imagine if the whole world was completely saturated with Biden and Trump or whoever it was. And overnight with it, you just never believed or cared or responded to anything they ever said again, because you've been hit with them every day, because once this becomes popular, everybody's going to do it. Cursing and screaming and yelling or whatever it is. And you will be able to basically disintegrate the image of it by virtue of its overplay. It just, do you understand what that is? Are you able to grasp that? Just think about that. Overnight, all of a sudden, everybody's got this. And it's everywhere. Remember when twerking or the rat pulling the pizza down the steps or planking or something became, imagine this becomes popular overnight and it's everywhere. Do you understand that? Just that alone doesn't sound like much. You will be so saturated, so habituated, so conditioned, so forever unaffected by any additional. Every time you hear Biden, you go, oh, okay. Is this the... No, it's an election. Whatever. No, what do you mean whatever? That was that misinformation. I don't know what that is. I don't even know what you call it. I don't know what you call it. Have you tried... Who's tried ChatGPT? Have you tried it? Have you tried ChatGPT? Anybody? Robert O'Keen. Thank you, Patty. And the road goes on forever. Yes. I love that song. But the guy with the beer and the pool... Anyway. Who's done ChatGPT? It's the most fascinating thing in the world. Have you seen what it will and will not answer? It's got its little breaks. That's a good version of it. It's not really the good stuff yet, but it's pretty interesting. I mean, if you wanna be an unscrupulous kid, you say, write me a report on such and such. Give me 500 words on, the history of mold. It's incredible. You can ask all types of things. That's a very mild version of it. Then you can go back and you can. But it's not looking things up. It's not looking things up. Now, somebody said, Aunt Massey says, self-awareness. Let me ask you something. Define consciousness. Now we're really getting it. When does this become conscious? What does consciousness mean? What does this mean? This is the $1 million question on YouTube. What does it mean? I ask you. I ask you. For the love of God, I ask you. What does it mean? What? How do you define consciousness? You have this thing. What? Well, you can say, well, I know what unconscious means. That's a start. What is consciousness? When does this thing become conscious? And when does it become a person or a thing? When? That's the part. That's the thing which is so... Let's get really metaphysical. When does it become something? When... I don't want to say when does it have a soul, because by definition it does not have a soul. But then again, why does a human have a soul? Because it's human. Well, is human the only thing to be human? Okay. Would you mind if all of a sudden you found out that your music, this is the easiest question of the world. If your music all of a sudden was written by AI, do you mind it? Do you mind it? What if somebody said, listen, we've listened to everything that the Stones have done, Keith Richards and whatever, and we have our own version of this. This would be an intellectual property question. I don't know how it would affect it, but what do you think would happen with that? Think about that. And all of a sudden, you hear this, because the Stones haven't written a song since, what, the 80s? I don't know. Who knows? And all of a sudden, you hear Mick and Keith, and it sounds as good, if not better, because this has figured out what would they be writing if they were who they were then. What would they be writing? What would they be writing? What? Tell me what they would be writing. Turn your phone off, problem solved. No. But I'll tell you one thing is interesting. It'd be a good idea for you not to have any kind of voicemail with your name on it. You might want to have those generic things. Brian says, I'm a songwriter, and that already is my fear. Brian, what if I take your song? What if I take your voice? And I don't put it out there as you, but I tell Mr. AI, give me something similar to this. He goes, I got it, and writes better than you do. I can crank out, give me something in G, 4/4, similar to this, classic, CGD, whatever business. Give me that, give me this pattern, give it to me a la such and such with Brian's voice, but it's not Brian. But change it enough. And all of a sudden you say, that's better than you. Now here's the thing. Here's the irony behind this. Listen to me carefully. See if you can dig this. You do know that there was a time when people said there's no way that a computer can beat a human being at chess. There's no way. They said this. There's no way it can do it. Because chess involves fear and intimidation. And okay, fine. Well, Deep Blue took care of that. And today, it's not even out. But yet, people still watch Magnus Carlsen. And they still watch these people who are incredible talents. They still watch these people. Even though they know that this is not the best chess there is. Think about that. I want you to hear me. And I want you to listen to me. You have not even been able to wrap your arms around what this means. You don't even know. I can't do it. YouTube has Lex Friedman and others. Weinstein's been good. Elon Musk has been good. This Tristan Harris, Asa, I forget his name. There's a fellow named Eleazar Yukulsky or something. I mean, the most brilliant, mind-boggling stuff I have seen in years. That is the subject. I'm going to leave you with that. I want you to have a great night. I want you to have a great and a glorious night. I want you to thank you for this. I want to share this with you, Mrs. L and I send you our love. Don't ever change. I mean this sincerely. Follow me at lionelmedia.com. I'll be back tomorrow. I got stuff to do tomorrow too. But I'm telling you, the only topic, everything else kind of bores me. I cannot get enough of what AI, because I see a storm coming, and I'm just as I think I understand it, it's not even close. It's like a Mandelbrot fractal. You get closer and closer, and you can go on forever. It is the story of them all. It is existential. It can affect everything. It may get to the point where you might say to yourself, I don't know if I want to get into planes anymore. I don't know who's running what. I don't know who can hack things. How do you make this stop? It's almost like a Manhattan Project. Somebody compared it to Chernobyl. In any event, you have a great and a glorious day. Thank you for spending time with me. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being who you are. And thank you for thinking. And thank you for being odd. That's all. And we'll see you next time. As soon as, by the way, subscribe to this channel. Subscribe so that you'll know when we do this again. Because this was impromptu. Okay? And not only that, I didn't plan on it. It was a joke. Anyway, see you soon. Have a great day. Don't ever change. Don't forget the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.